talk about metastasis and molecular and cellular mechanisms that cause it. First, we're going to introduce ourselves. I am Ángela Vallejo.
I'm Laura Torres. I am Maria Durán.
Now I'm going to give you a little introduction to see what metastasis is about. Metastasis is a complex process by which tumoral cells break off the original or primary tumor and move through the body to form tumors at new locations. In order for metastasis to take place, several cellular and molecular mechanisms have to occur. As a whole, they are all known as metastatic cascade. If one of these steps does not happen, then metastasis will not be formed. Now we're going to see what these steps are. First, we have carcinogenesis or progressive growth. Then is angiogenesis or creation of new blood vessels. Third, we have invasion of the basal membrane. Fourth, we have the introsation or the penetration into the circulatory system. Fifth, we have circulation. Sixth, we have detention. And seventh, last but not least, we have secondary colony. We're going to talk about carcinogenesis. This is a process by which cells proliferate in an uncontrolled way, becoming therefore malignant tumor cells. It consists of initiation, promotion, and tumoral progression. We're going to talk about the third step, as it is the most interesting so to understand what metastasis is all about. Tumoral progression is a combination of phenomena that give the tumor the capacity to invade and metastasize. It is thought that the basis of these phenomena are new alterations in the genetic material. As an example, we have the gene that qualifies for the synthesis of the protein tris, located on the 7th chromosome, in charge of tissue formation during the embryonic period, after which the gene should deactivate. However, if by any reason the gene gets active, and also it has a very important role in the formation and expansion of metastases to distant sites of the body. Like this, there are many other cases of regulation genes important on the development of different cancer types. Now we're going to talk about angiogenesis. This is a process by new blood vessels are created from pre-existing ones. They are originated as a result of segregation of several factors. Some of our are VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, and VPS, vascular permeability factors. They are called angiogenesis factor and can induce the capillary growth of the tumor. This is an essential step required from tumor progression, as these new vessels are the ones that will be invaded by tumor cells. Angiogenesis requires interaction between tumor cells, endothelial cells, and extracellular matrix. The enzymes that mediate these interactions are serinoproteases and metalloproteinases. Now, we're going to talk about invasion. The process of the invasion consists of different steps. Cell attachment, first tumoral cells attach to the extracellular matrix contents as well as to the other cells. This occurs thanks to integrins. They are transmembrane receptors that interact with laminins, fibronectins, vitronectins, and collagens, provoking an alteration in the cytoskeleton. That causes a cellular deformation, and that allows it to go through different structures by the emission of cell death. Besides, it is necessary that the metastatic cell loses the adhesion to the rest of the cells by the loss of scattering, function, and expression. And last but not least, the rupture of the basal membrane is required to proteolytic enzymes such as serinoproteases, metalloproteinases, or systemic proteinases.
Okay, so we arrive to the fourth stage, that as you can see is the introduction or penetration into the vascular torrent. It consists of the penetration of the tumor cells into the lymphatic and blood vessels, which permits the expansion of the tumor to other organs. The introduction is facilitated by structural abnormalities in the new vessels created by the tumor during angiogenesis. The first step is circulation. There are several factors that propitiate the circulation of tumor cells to the vessels. We can distinguish three of them. They're secreted by tumors, the cellular matrix, or secreted by hosts. The first of them is factors secreted by the tumor cells, or also called upstream motility factors. At least 11 have been identified. One example is the HGF-SF factor. We can find it in both normal and tumor cells, but in the first one, it acts as a paracrine growth factor, while in the second one, it can act as an autocrine motility factor. These proteins are known to mediate the reception of these factors. The second type would be the extracellular matrix proteins, such as pitronectin, laminin, and fibronectin. Also thrombopoietin. These proteins stimulate chemotaxis, motility toward a chemical gradient, and astrotaxis, motility toward a bound substrate. They surround tumor cells, which produce some degradative enzymes that cleave the extracellular proteins, which stimulate the tumor cells to migrate, turning like this into a cellular mechanism that cause metastasis. The three type would be host-secreted growth factors or paracrine motility factors. Some examples are insulin like growth factor 1, interleukin, 8, and histamine. These paracrine motility factors have been referred to as homing factors, since they induce tumor cells to move towards the organ that produces them. Many of these factors act as mitogens, stimulating cellular division. As you can see, through a variety of mechanisms, motility factors may cause one of the following which contribute to motility. They would be changes in cell shape, cytoskeletal rearrangement, changes in polarization, and membrane fluidity. This is one of the most important and critical states, as tumoral cells are very likely not to succeed in the journey across the body, due to the fact that they have to face a huge amount of hazards that endanger their life. The mechanical stress that they have to endure, the inflammatory immunitary system toxicity, coagulation make tumoral cells fail. Now my partner is going to talk about the 6 and 7 steps.
Now I'm going to talk about the 6 and 7 steps of this process of metastasis. The 6th step is called detention or intronisation. Some tumors can colonize a great variety of tissues, while others are a lot more selective, aiming directly at the specific organs they want to invade. There are 2 possible types of detention, depending on where it takes place. In both, the metastatic cell attaches to the endothelial membrane. If this occurs in a capillary or venule, it causes the endothelial retraction by totalitarian factors, the addition of the membrane by laminin and thrombostin receptors, and finally the dissolution of the membrane mediated by proteinosis. On the other hand, if this takes place in a tumoral artery, it causes that the tumoral cells proliferate in an uncontrolled way. This is known as embolization, until they form even intravascular colonies. These colonies are covered by a non-basal membrane in the ceiling, and this provokes a mechanical change in the vessel in the ceiling. And as a result, the basal membrane lies exposed to the prognosis activity. And finally, the last step of all is the formation of secondary colonies. Cells proliferate in an uncontrolled manner and create colonies that become new focus for the original tumor to expand. This phenomenon is favored by growth factors and angiogenesis stimuli. We have already explained this. And that's all the steps we need to know about the formation of metastasis.
Spread of tumors to distant locations is of great importance in cancer. About 90% of the deaths due to cancer involve tumors that have spread around the body. The movement of tumor cells to other parts of the body is known as metastasis. Metastasis is a complex process during which cancer cells break off of the original or primary tumor and move through the body to form tumors at new locations. From the point of view of a cancer cell, this is a dangerous and often unsuccessful process. A trip through the body is full of hazards that cause the death of most cells that begin the journey, even tough cancer cells. To begin the process, individual cells must break away from the tumor and invade nearby vessels. The cells crawl along the surface of other cells and the fibrous, stringy structure surrounding them and then force their way in. Shown here is the invasion of the blood supply. Once inside a blood vessel, the cancer cells may perish from a variety of causes. Some cells die simply because they are unable to survive floating around in the bloodstream. Others may become damaged and die when they squeeze through tight spaces or bump into the walls of the blood vessels. Still, other migrating cells may be recognized and destroyed by cells of the immune system. How and where the migrating cells stop is different for different cancer types. Once the tumor cells are no longer moving, they can begin the process of forming a new tumor by leaving the blood vessel and beginning to reproduce in the new location. This does not always occur, and cells that have made it this far may still die or fail to divide. If the new environment is suitable, the newly arrived cell will begin to grow and a new tumor will develop.
I'm sitting here, I miss the power. I'd like to go out, taking a shower, but there's a heavy cloud inside.